it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to another episode of Comic Class, the show every single Wednesday on this channel where we just geek out about comic books. However, today is going to be a little bit different. Today we're not so much geeking out about comic books so much as comic book movies. Justice League, to be specific, because you see, over the last week, a ton of new information has come out about this film, and we're going to cover all of that here in today's episode. However, before I get into all this news, I feel like I should explain to you guys my feelings at the moment towards the DC Cinematic Universe. Specifically, Batman vs. Superman, which is the film that is going to go directly into the Justice League movie and has many of the same creative talent working on it. I was less than positive on that film. I can't do this! I can't! I'm living a lie! I can't just sit here and pretend like everything's okay. I can't pretend like this movie didn't horrifically affect me in numerous ways. Sad thing is, that's the only clip I could have used from that review that did not involve me cursing or openly weeping. Yeah, I have not been that positive on David Goyer and Zack Snyder's take on the DC Cinematic Universe, but neither have a lot of people. In fact, the majority of people out there have kind of been negative on that last film, and it's made a lot of us nervous about the upcoming Justice League film. In fact, in that review and in the post-geek out reaction that I did afterwards, I said, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to every DC film out there. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman, I'm looking forward to Aquaman, I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad, I'm looking forward to literally every single movie that they have coming out except for Justice League. And that should not be the way things are. I should be freaking out at the very idea that a Justice League movie could happen. I should be going around screaming in joy. Instead, I'm just screaming. Always screaming. Never not screaming. But the interesting thing is that rather than just dismissing all the people who had problems with that film, saying that they're Marvel fanboys or they just wanted their films to be fun, no, they're actually listening to these people. All the stories that have been coming out about the upcoming Justice League film really seems like they're trying to address all the problems that Batman vs. Superman had, and I really have to applaud them for that. So we're going to run down each of these stories. A lot of them are just really small little things. It's just stuff that came out in interviews and in all honesty doesn't mean a whole lot, but some of these things are actual big revelations about this movie, and I think they might actually say a lot about the future directions of the DC Cinematic Universe. The first thing we're going to talk about is that Zack Snyder came out and said that this movie will be lighter in tone. He even said that he thinks he might have been a little bit too quote-unquote hardcore on Batman vs. Superman. Hardcore still kind of implies that you think you were right, but I'm going to let that pass because this was still as close as we're going to get to him coming out and saying, I screwed up everybody, it's on me, yeah, my bad, I do not know what I'm doing with these characters. That's as close as we're going to get to that. So I'm going to say kudos to you, Zack Snyder. Admitting you're wrong is the first step. They also said, and this is probably my favorite story that came out, they actually came out and said that, quote, there will be jokes. How badly did you screw up in your superhero film that for the next one you have to actually say there will be jokes? That's like screwing up so badly on a Fast and Furious movie that you have to come out and go, guys, in the next one, there will be cars. And before anybody comes in the comments and goes, oh, you just wanted to be jokey and fun like all the Marvel films out there. Yeah, I want a superhero film to be fun. Why is that a weird thing? But I think everybody assumes that jokey and fun means super lighthearted and nothing bad could possibly happen. No, some of the darkest films out there have got some great jokes in there as well. You know why they do? It's because if you're going to sit down for 2.5 hours, you cannot just have one tone going throughout the entire thing. Because even if you are invested in that tone in the beginning, just constantly having it hammered into you and constantly having that one note playing the entire time, about halfway through that movie, you're going to feel numb. You're going to feel bored with it. You need to throw a joke in there every now and again just to make the audience go, ah, and then you can then hit them with the hard and serious stuff again. Why do you think that in horror films there's always one really bad joke right in the middle of the film? And why do you think that no matter how bad that joke is, you still find yourself oddly laughing at it? It's because if that horror film did a good job raising the tension throughout that entire time, They need to give you that one moment right there in the middle that just makes you go, ah, that was great. Oh my god, I'm scared again. So yes, if you're going to have a movie that goes for 2.5 hours, maybe even 3 hours, you do need to have some jokes in there. You do need to have some changes in the tone throughout the course of the film in order to keep people interested, but also in a Justice League movie, a movie that involves The Flash, you do need to have some actual jokes in there because you've got 7 people on this team. If every single one of them is standing around going, yes, I see, well, then we'll go out there and do it for justice. That's the obvious answer, yes, Then you need someone in there to come in and change that up. You can't have everybody just be dark and serious throughout the entire film. One of the reasons why Wonder Woman was the biggest breakout star of Batman vs. Superman, a film that had 2 title characters and she wasn't one of them, was because she was not acting like those 2 title characters. She was completely different from them. She came in, started screaming out loud as she attacked Doomsday, and just went hog wild, kicking ass all throughout that film. Okay, not all throughout that film, just for like maybe 5 minutes of it, but still, that was enough. That was enough for us to make us go, oh my god, someone who's different. Someone who is not like these 2 boring lumps. And speaking of said boring lumps, first bit of news was that Superman may not actually be returning in this one. We all knew that 2 Justice League films were planned, but the rumor going around, and this one is solely rumor, I just gotta say that right now, but solely the rumor at this moment is Superman might not actually be coming back in this film. He might be coming back in the second film. And honestly, if that's true, I think it says a lot about people's feelings towards Superman and their negative reaction towards Henry Cavill as Superman. Now, once again, I'm not saying that this is Henry Cavill's fault. I've seen that dude in interviews and I was like, oh my god, you're actually kind of charismatic and charming. Why can't you be that as Superman? You know, like Superman is. So I think that it says a lot about people's feelings towards the way that this Superman was portrayed, in that they're like, maybe we should give people a little bit more time before we bring him back. Maybe we should just let it fully get out of people's minds before he returns. Like, I think that they want to kind of give us something different first before it's safe for them to reintroduce that Superman. Plus, if you have that Superman who is that serious and that focused and that determined and just that alienated from the rest of everyone else, not really the things that we want to see in Superman, and then in the very next movie, he immediately pops up and returns things like, hey everybody, I'm that Superman that you all love. We're gonna be like, how? But you give us one movie in between those films to create kind of a buffer, I can understand it. So if they want to delay the return of Superman that long, sure, I understand. Plus, if you want to show a world without Superman, show the effect that he had on this world, and show what happens when he's gone, creating an entire movie in which we see the Superman-free world, I think that would actually achieve that pretty well. And when it comes to Batman, we all know that he's going to be leading the Justice League, and he's going to be gathering this team together, but Ben Affleck has come out and said he is going to be a very different Batman, and thank goodness for that, because let me just go ahead and say, I actually really like Ben Affleck's Batman. Pretty much everybody did. Even the people who hated this film came out of it going, yeah, but he was actually really good at it. He was actually a really good Batman. In fact, in that review I said he might be the best Batman that we've gotten in a movie so far. And even after having some time to think about it, I'd still say so. I still think he is probably the best Batman that we've gotten in a movie. Aside from the Bruce Timm animated film, that was definitely the best Batman we've had in a movie. But in that film, they wanted to capture Dark Knight Returns. They wanted to be that Batman who was old and jaded and had just been put through the ringer too many times, had lost too many people, and he had just lost all hope and was just completely brutal and jaded. And like, okay, that worked in Dark Knight Returns. And that's the Batman you wanted to create, and honestly, I think you did capture that well. However, this is not Dark Knight Returns. This is the movie coming right before Justice League. Dark Knight Returns Batman is the guy who had his time with the League, and now he's lost them all, he's all by himself, and he's jaded and darker than ever. You can't go in reverse on that one. So my question was always, yeah, that is a great interpretation of the dark, gritty, jaded Batman who has no hope. Why is that dude going to form the Justice League? And why do I want to see that Batman form the Justice League? Seriously, if this is going to be the start of the Justice League, why do I want the old, washed up Batman who doesn't care anymore to be forming that league? But they have come out and said that this is no longer a Batman at the end of his rope, it is the Batman at the beginning of something. After the death of Superman, it will have changed Batman, and he is actually going to try and take on a new approach. He's going to try and be less dark and vigilant and angry, and he's not consumed by rage anymore. He is now a man on a mission, a man who wants to change the world for the better, and realizes that he can't always do that from the shadows, and he can't always do that just by branding people. Seriously, that was dumb in that movie. So in all honesty, I'm actually fine with that, and I've got to applaud these guys, because as I said, I did not want to see that Batman form the Justice League. You have to find a way to reverse it, and that's actually a pretty good explanation of how to reverse it. I gotta applaud them for that. They found a way to take that negative and turn it into a positive. So, kudos to you guys. See? I'm not totally negative on the DC Cinematic Universe. Sometimes they can do something right, and this actually sounds like a good approach to that. But now let's get into the big piece of news, which is that everybody was saying that Darkseid would be the villain in the Justice League film. Everybody said that was going to be Darkseid, and they're going to split this movie into 2 parts. Well, they came out and said it is not being split into 2 parts. It's all going to be one movie, and the villain is going to be Steppenwolf. Okay, to everybody out there who had a poll going of who was going to be the villain in the Justice League film, congrats to that one dude who said Steppenwolf. And I don't mean like one dude out of every poll. I mean there's like one guy at a school somewhere, probably out in like Kansas, who was like, I think it will be Steppenwolf. Congrats to you. You nailed it. Okay, obviously the reason why it's Steppenwolf is because they want to set up Darkseid. But I find it very interesting that they want to set up Darkseid because it was made kind of clear that Darkseid was going to be the big baddie in the Justice League film, but now it seems like they're trying to push him back. In fact, even if he was going to be the big baddie revealed at the end of Justice League Part 1, it was like, okay, they set him up throughout this film and now he's going to pop up in the second one. But now that these 2 films are not Part 1 and Part 2, but instead they are 2 completely separate films, it feels to me like they're trying to make him more like Thanos. But in all honesty, Darkseid should be more like Thanos. He should not be what he was in the Justice League origin comic, where he just pops in out of nowhere and is like, ah, Darkseid, and just starts destroying stuff. You need some time to build Darkseid up. You need a couple movies to introduce him. So, if you want to introduce one of his henchmen, honestly, I guess Steppenwolf is the best choice. You know, there's a bunch of other ones you could have picked, but Steppenwolf, he can really hold his own. He could probably hold his own the best against the entire league. So, alright, fine, I'll give you guys that one. And I don't want to come in here and just say, oh, they changed everything at the last second because people didn't like the movie, because in Batman vs. Superman, there are actually clues that Steppenwolf was going to be the villain. I mean, there was that deleted scene in which some dude with giant horns pops up. Everybody is saying that was Steppenwolf, so okay, that was Steppenwolf. I'll accept that. So, yeah, it does seem like they were playing this from the beginning. However, this whole it's no longer a 2-part thing, which they're coming out and saying, oh, it was never that. It's like, dude, we heard you. We know this was a 2-part thing, alright? We remember what you said, alright? So, the fact that it's no longer 2 parts, this one is just total crazy conspiracy theory speculation, so take it with the grainiest of salts, but I have a feeling like this is some kind of a plan of theirs to get Zack Snyder and David Goyer out of there. Because the 2 of them were going to be responsible for both parts of the Justice League film, and as I said, people are really excited for Wonder Woman, people are intrigued by Aquaman, people are hyped for that upcoming Suicide Squad film. Justice League, everybody's like, I'll catch it on a plane, I guess, I don't know. And the reason why people feel that way is because that's how they felt about Batman vs. Superman, and these are the 2 guys who were responsible for Batman vs. Superman. So, yeah, it would not shock me at all to learn that Justice League was indeed going to be 2 parts like we all thought, because as I said, there were reports coming out it was going to be 2 parts, and it wasn't just random people saying that, it was people on the inside saying that. So, I would not be shocked at all if it was going to be 2 parts, and then Warner Brothers came in and said, we're contractually obligated to have these guys on both parts of this Justice League film. Wait a second. What if there weren't both parts, but just one part of the Justice League film? Then we can have them work on that, and then we can kick them out of there for the second film and hire someone new. In fact, we're already eyeing someone for the job. But that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about all this news that's been coming out about Justice League. And there was one other thing worth noting about all this, It's that Deborah Snyder, the wife of Zack Snyder, came out in an interview and said that the thing that they learned the most from Batman vs. Superman is that people don't like to, quote, see their heroes deconstructed. Yeah, I have some thoughts on that. And this weekend, I'm going to be putting out a brand new series called Thorgitorials, or Editorials. I have yet to decide on a name about. They're both equally stupid, but it's going to be a brand new just opinion piece that I do every now and again, because believe me, I have an opinion about that. So if you want to see that or some other comic book videos from me, then make sure that you click on that subscribe button right there. Or if you want to see some other videos from me right now, they will be up at the end of this video, and you can always follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. But for now, I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Come back next time.